Hello everyone, you are able to see my screen?
Yeah, we are able to.
Okay. Just a second. Thanks Hemant for the introduction. So I will not waste my time to introduce myself. So let's move ahead to the actual topic. What I want to deliver today is like Kubernetes networking and how we can view from from the basic to advanced networking from the Kubernetes native networking, and if I am using the service mesh like Istio, and that point of view, how I can see the networking, those couple of things like we can share. So today I will not going to show any demo or something fancy like that, but I will more concentrate on the how we can go in a conceptual way. Yeah. So this is about myself. Already Himank already introduced. So let's start. So this will be today's agenda. First of all, we'll go through the basics of the Kubernetes networking of the Kubernetes. Then advanced routing, we'll check it out, like how we are doing the routing from the service to service, or if I'm hitting any service from outside the world, like how we can connect to the service, that we can check it out. Next, like we can check it out, some basic stuffs about the service mesh and Istio, and the traffic routing by the Istio. The next thing is we will go with the networking with the Istio and the routing part. Okay, so first of all, we'll see what are the services are there in the Kubernetes. So if we check, there are four basic services like cluster IP, node port, then load balancer, and then the external name. So basically, if you look at the diagram which I have shown, if I want to connect to any service, or if I want to expose any service inside the Kubernetes, so there are if I want to expose the service inside the Kubernetes, so I will go with the cluster IP. So I don't want to expose that service outside the cluster. If I want to access the service outside the cluster and I have the access to the node, then I will expose it onto the node port. If I want, if I'm spinning up anything, if I'm spinning up anything on my cloud, so I can go with the load balancer service, where I can expose my service onto the load balancer, and I can access my application outside the world. So these are like some of the basic services which I can say into the Kubernetes. So next part, if I'm talking about like cluster IP, how the pod, if I'm exposing any service to the pod. So if I write down the any deployment, and if I want to communicate, or if I want to access the application, so what I will do, I will write down the manifest file for the, let's consider here I am deploying any application with the label like Nginx. So I'll deploy that application. I will write down one service. In the service, I will write it down. The type is equal to cluster IP. So the manifest which I wrote in the right side, you are able to see I have written type is cluster IP. So this application will get exposed onto the 80. The port is 80 and target port, which the container port we have mentioned over here. And based on your labels and selectors, what we have mentioned in the deployment and the service, according to that it will get connected. So behind the scene, if I want to talk about how it will get connected, so service is a different entity and the deployment is a different entity. So behind the scene, if I talk about the services, services is maintaining the endpoints, and at the endpoint level, it will try to watch the pods which is matching to the selectors. So here I have mentioned selector is equal to, selectors are like env is equal to prod, and the same the labels, the service will say, check it out, what are the deployments having the same labels. And at the endpoint, it will try to maintain all the IP tables, like what are the pods IPs are there, which is having the env is equal to prod. Those IPs will get connected. Those IP will get added into your endpoints. So automatically, when I'm just trying to hit any service with the label env is equal to prod, env is equal to prod, so it will get connected to my nginx pod. So next thing, like if I want to talk about the node port, so node port basically it's like again it's a limited range of ports. It comes from like 30,000 to 32767. Basically it opens the port onto your node. So what are the nodes you are running into your Kubernetes clusters? Those on that node, the port will get exposed. So here, if I check about the manifest file, I have wrote like type is equal to node port. So over here, I'm just exposing my nginx pod with the port 30,001. So again, my container port is 80. So 80 port is mapping to my 30,001. So if I want to access my nginx pod on my local desktop, or if I have the access to my nodes, so I can just put it down my node IP colon the 3001. So I am able to access the nginx pod. The next service is like load balancer. Same if I want to talk about like the behind the scene. So again, load balancer is a service which extensively provided by your cloud provider. If I expose any service onto the load balancer and I mention the manifest file that type is equal to load balancer, so it will get mapped with the public IP with one of the port that what I have mentioned over here, like 8080. Here I have exposed like a pod onto like app is equal to nginx or env is equal to prod, and behind the scene it is mapping to your 8080 port. Again, if I want to talk about the work flow from your external IP to the pod, so first of all, my public IP will get mapped with the target port that what I have mentioned over here, like 8080. So I will put it down like public IP colon 8080. Behind the scene, again, load balancer is mapping to your node port. So that node port I have mentioned over here, like 31768. From node port to it will again point to your cluster IP. So this is like workflow. If you look out from the top of the service, and I'm hitting to any service which is running inside my Kubernetes cluster. So first it will hit to your load balancer public IP, then it will go to your node port. From node port to it will map to your cluster IP. So if I talk about like cluster IP is like virtual IP which is running inside the Kubernetes cluster, which I have exposed like this virtual IP is connected with like your services, and this cluster IP will get connect to your multiple pods. Okay, so this is like external name. So this like is kind of like I'm mapping the service like or the DNS mapping to any service that I want to map inside, which is running inside my Kubernetes. So for that we are using external name. So yeah, so if I talk deep dive into like the things like which are running inside the Kubernetes, they're like I am exposing any service. Let's say consider on cluster IP node port or load balancer, what it does it like if I'm talking about like there are like three modes where I'm hitting any service. So what it will do if I talk about like the worker nodes, we are running the kube proxy on each and every nodes, and kube proxy, what kube proxy will do, kube proxy will route that traffic to your pod. So if I am hitting, like if you check about these diagrams, so the client which I am just sitting the guy who is hitting the service. So from client to if I want to reach to my pod, so these are like multiple ways, or these are the multiple service, or I can say like these are the multiple ways you can reach out to your pod. So there are like three ways like how we kube proxy modes are. Like first is user space mode. Second one is like IP table proxy mode, and third one is a IPVS proxy mode. So if I want to talk about like there are like slight difference in between like these three mode, not into in a bigger mode for the bigger way. If I want to like talk about like user space proxy mode, then like it will kube-proxy watches the Kubernetes master for the additional and removal of the services and the endpoint object, and for it opens like randomly choosing the local on the local node. And what it does, like it will connect with the proxy port. On the proxy port, it will get connected to your pod, actual pod. And user space mode actually install the IP table rules which capture the traffic from the cluster IP and the port. So behind the scene, again, it will install the IP tables and it will route the traffic to your kubeproxy, and kubeproxy will take care of that routing the traffic to the actual pod. So if I want to talk about like IP tables mode, IP table proxy mode. So this is like common mode, I could say, like it will again so it install the IP table rules which capture the traffic from the cluster IP and the port and redirect that traffic to one of the service in the backend side. It install like IP table rules which select the backend pod. So what are the things behind the scene it is running? So kubeproxy will pass that traffic to your cluster IP. So if I want to talk about like IPVS mode, so this is slightly different things. Like kubeproxy watches the service and endpoints and call the netlink interface to create one IPVS, like a virtual IP, or I could say like a virtual server. And accordingly, it will synchronize the IPVS rule with your Kubernetes services and the endpoints. And this is like way like it will get connected. Like here, if I want to send the traffic, there are like multiple modes. IPVS does is like it uses the round robin, or it may be using service hash mapping, source hashing, or it may be like the destination hashing. That depend on like what type of mode it is using. Depend on that, IPVS will route your traffic to actual pod. So this is what I am just trying to explain. If you look at the from the top view, like if I am hitting to any service from the kube API, so first it will get connected to your service, and service at the service backend it is maintaining the IP tables with the help of endpoints. So let's consider I have one Python application and I want to access that application with the help of Nginx. So first I will hit to the Nginx server. So it will go to your kubeproxy, and kubeproxy has this any of this mode like where to route the traffic, and from the service it will get connected to your Python application. So if you look at the right hand side, if I'm not wrong, you are able to see these things. So if I am exposing the service with the help of like load balancer or the external traffic, so this is like how we will get connected to your actual pod. So again, behind the scene, load balancer will get connected to a node port. From node port, it will get connected to a cluster IP where all the IP tables are there, and from there, the kubeproxy will route your traffic to actual pod. So here we have like 2 nodes, and the 3 pods are running behind the scene. And how this traffic will flow, you can check it out like in the right side. Like cloud provider control will take care of the like provisioning of the load balancer service, and it will take care of like taking the call from the external. It will take the traffic from the external world, and it will say redirect the traffic to your actual pod. Is there any questions till now? Okay. Okay. So in the last section, like we have seen like how external traffic will come to your pod. So this is what I am just I want to try to explain you. If you check out the middle diagram, if I'm exposing any service, so don't worry. Like if I'm creating any service like a load balancer, or if I'm creating the node port type of service, behind the scene it is actually going to create the cluster IP. Or if I am creating any service like load balancer, it is creating the node port and cluster IP too. So if you look at the right side, left hand side of the diagram, So here you will come to know like how traffic exactly reaching to your pod. So if you look at the top level, like external traffic, and if you look at like 4.4.4.1, so this 4.4.4.1 is like external IP of your node, and it is mapping to 30,080 port. And again, these two ports are get connected to your load balancer service, and from load balancer I am able to access the service. So if you ask me like why there are like two IPs, so again these are like if I talk about like 4441, it is the external IP of your node. If I talk about like 1111, it is the internal IP of your node. So I am exposing any service, that means it is get mapped with your 30,080 with your internal and external IP of your node, and it will get connected to your load balancer. And how this is like how you can think like how traffic are flowing from external to the your pod. If you look at like downside like service Python load balancer service, and if you ask like if you think like what is like 1.1.10.1, so this is what like I am just trying to say like 11.10.1 is like cluster IP, and it will get mapped with your 30,000 port. And again, at the lowest level, this cluster IP will redirect your application traffic, Kubernetes traffic to your actual pod. So behind the scene, if you look at the Python pod like 11.1.6.3.5, those are like Python pod, and it will get connected to your cluster IP against 3000, and 11.10.1 cluster IP will get connected to your node port with like 111 30,080 or 4441, and from 4441 it will get connected to your external load balancer. So I hope like it is like pretty clear like how traffic flows from like if I'm hitting any service from the external world to the exact actual pod. So if you look at the extremely right hand side of the diagram, so if you check like external traffic and how it flows. So let's just think I have like multiple services and like multiple applications which are running the behind the Kubernetes cluster, and those are like multiple microservices are there, and I think like more than like let's consider 20 or 30 microservices are running inside my cluster. Then how I can manage those things? Because if you check about like load balancer service too, so again behind the scene it is creating the node ports, and node port, if you talk about the node ports, it is having the limited range of like 30,000 to 3767. So in between, if I exhausting this port range, and then what will be the next things? Like if I have exhausted with the ports, then the new service I want to access outside the Kubernetes cluster, that I cannot do. So for that, we can use like the new things comes in a picture called as ingress controller, where what I will do, I will only expose the ingress controller with the help of ingress rule with the load balancer, and rest of the traffic I will manage with the help of like ingress rule behind the scene. So if I look at the like extreme right hand side diagram, so you can see like I have deployed one ingress controller, and with the help of like ingress controller, I am just routing the traffic to actual pod. And this is the way like how I can save the ports. And again, if I talk about the security level, so I can secure my application. So this is like how we can see like from like how traffic flows. If I talk about like how and till the time like if you think like how traffic flows and how it happens, so if you think like it is like all the things are flowing with the your IP only. So if I'm hitting to any IP, from it will route to traffic from IP to IP tables and all those stuff. So again, it is a L3 type of traffic routing, where all the traffic will get mapped to your IP and IP tables and IP route, and it will route the traffic to your actual pod. If I let's suppose I have like application which is having like load balancer kind of stuff. So I have like HTTP or HTTP based application. I want to secure that application. How we can do with these things? So definitely it is like L3 kind of application. L3 L3 type of routing. Here I cannot do those things. So if you consider like if I want to talk about like in a AWS way, So I have like NLB and ALB. So if I want to route the traffic a more faster way with the static IP, I will go with the NLB. And if I want to secure the traffic, I want to do the caching, or I want to do the secure the traffic with the multiple ways, I will go with the ALB, application load balancer. And this is the what I'm just trying to explain, like why I'm using the application or L7 type of traffic routing or networking rather than the L3. So this is like why service mesh comes in a picture. Like if I want to talk about like service mesh, so today I will just going to cover the Istio and why Istio. So that I'm just going to explain you after this slide. So what service mesh is like? Service mesh is like open service platform that to manage the service and interaction with the containers. So we'll just check it out. Like if I want to do the service to service communication, so I can do with the service mesh. But what exactly Istio does is Istio does more than the what service only service mesh do is. Behind the scene, if I talk about the Istio is using NY proxy to route the traffic. So we'll see one by one. So these are like some of the things that Istio does is like intelligence routing. Intelligent routing. From that we can do like controlling in between like dynamic configuration, or if I want to do the canary deployments or A/B testing, like or blue green type of deployment, that I can do with the Istio. If I talk about like resilience, like it's a more like mature way how we can do and play around the application. It is like if I want to check the health or timeout or circuit breaks, like I'm using Hystrix or something something like that, that I can do with the resiliency. If I want to secure traffic, this is the more proper way why I'm service mesh is using with the and how I can secure my traffic at the application layer. Just this is the way like I want to just explain you like why I'm using L7 rather than the L3. Here I can use like a mutual TLS. I can inject with in between two services which are running inside the cluster, and I can control the traffic, and I can do the like encryption of the traffic, and I can play around that. And last not the least one, the telemetry one. That why telemetry? If you know about the Kiali dashboard or something, telemetry or tracing of the calls, that can easily do with the help of like telemetry. That again, this feature is provided by the Istio. What Istio value proportion is like again, it's like securing the call like authentication, and again it is not relying on to your L3. L3 controls. It has like a uniform service to service layer observability that I can do with like what are the signals and traffic flows. I can collect the logs what from which service to which service it is like call is going. That calls and that signals I can capture. If I am talking about like traffic management and operational agility, like I can see like how service behaves, and I can control the traffics, and I can again do the like policy and traffic routing rules where I can set particular traffic to one pod and or particular deployment. And if I want to upgrade the deployment with another version, I can send the traffic like in a percentage wise. Like if I want to send the 50% of traffic to the old one, 50% of traffic to the new version of the application, that I can easily do with the help of Istio. So these are like some of the aspects that I want to show you, like uniform observability, that we can trace it out, like operational agility, where I can do like these are the some of the way, like if I'm doing the canary deployments, I can control the traffic. Like if I have the different application, I have like two application where one application is running for Android, one is application running for Apple, so that I can do with the help of like Istio. Again, the security perspective, like I can enable the mutual TLS authentication and encryption. I can control over the identity, and I can configure those things at the configuration that I can do in the virtual service, and the destination rule that I can write into the Istio. Again, if I am talking about like it supports like REST and gRPC, at gRPC and REST API level call, I can just have the control, like I can do the core policies and I can block the headers, and if I want to allow some headers, that I can do with the virtual service of the Istio. So if I want to bit talk about uh, like networking proxy types. So these are like some of the networking proxy type, like middle proxy, edge proxy, embedded client library proxy, or the client side or sidecar proxy. So these are some of the networking proxies that how we can route the traffic. So here, if I talk about the Istio, Istio is using like sidecar proxy or the client side proxy. What we can say is, so a bit about if I don't want to waste much more time explaining like what middle proxy or what edge proxy or client proxy. If you look at the first diagram, it is like middle proxy. Second one is like edge proxies. Third one is like client library. So if I want to bit talk about like middle proxy, so again it's most familiar, like I'm using like Juniper F5, or like I'm using a LB or NLB kind of stuff. So that one is a middle proxy. If I want to like edge proxy, so I want to use like a API gateway kind of stuffs, and like it is using like a proxy topology. And 1 second. Okay. Okay. I'll take the questions later on. Okay. So if I want to talk about like edge proxy, so I can do like a TLS termination and all those stuff. I can use like edge proxy. If I want to talk about like embedded client library traffic routing at this level. So if you are a developer, then you definitely know like Ribbon or Hystrix type of service, or gRPC type of client library that I can embed it with my code, and this is where like how I can route the traffic. But again, this is like a dependency. I want to integrate this library with my code, and again I have to deploy the code. So if I want to talk about the client library type of proxy, it is much more faster, but again your application will get bulky. So if I want to talk about like sidecar proxy, what sidecar does, again it is not like 100% sure, or it is a definitely faster way to route the traffic, but definitely there are like a lot of pros, rather than if I look at the other proxies. I have like client side load balancing I can do. I can it is not like a traditional like L4 level of traffic routing. It is a way, if I talk about like sidecar proxies, it's a more lightweight. Then I can do the I can scale the sidecar proxy. It is not sitting in your code just like a client library, and they can do the load balancing. So we'll next we'll see like more about the sidecar proxies. Do we have like Istio Slack where I can join and there is a Istio Slacks too. Like there are multiple companies who are contributing to the Istio, and after that I'll paste the link into the chat itself. How could we do horizontal pod scaling based on the custom Istio matrices? That I will explain you, but I don't think like we need to do like HPA kind of stuff with the help of like Istio. But yes, we can do those things, because mostly if I talk about the HPA mostly works on like three things. Like if I want to, there are like three modes. Like I can do with the custom matrices and the standard matrices like CPU and RAM based scaling, and those will be sufficient to scale the application. If I want to do the custom matrices based application, then again definitely you have to be 100% sure that I can scale the application on these matrices, and then only you can use this matrices to scale the application. If you are not sure about how custom matrices are going to behave, definitely I will not recommend it to go with the custom matrices, because again that will be again a bottleneck for you. Okay, so if I want to talk about like sidecar, what sidecar does is like it will get deployed to your application, so you don't worry about the how application is. If I want to enable the sidecar or the NY proxy deployed to, with your application, you can just have to enable the Istio with your namespace. So one more, when you are trying to deploy any application into the Kubernetes, so it will not only the application. So with your application pod, there one more container will get spin up in your pod. That is I could say like Istio proxies or the NY proxy, which will get spin up with your application. And these NY proxies will have actual routing of your traffic. So this is like some of the beauty of like what proxy sidecar does is like it redirects the traffic, enforcing the policies, report the telemetries and all. There are like no, as I earlier explained, there are no client library embedded with your code, because it runs with along with your code. It is not integrated directly with your code. So if I want to talk about something like NY proxy, so these are the things like it is lightweight, low memory footprints. It is already graduated projects. CNCF graduate projects. Then they're like you talk about the contribution. Then it is using the lot of beautiful things about the Istio. It will do the fault injection. Then you can use Zipkin for tracing those things. You can route the traffic and split the traffic. That will I will going to explain the about after the few slides. Not much wasting of the time. If I want to look at the Istio architecture, here you go. If I am talking about like Istio version from 1.5 and above, like currently it is 1.7. So these are the control plane components get merged into Istio D. And all again, if I talk about like before the 1.5, they're like Pilot, Mixer and Citadel and all those stuffs. Those are like again the same component of Istio D only. So in the next like 1.5 and above version, all the components are get embedded into one single component, that is Istio D. So bit about like architecture point of view. If I look at the architecture diagram, you are definitely come to know why I am running any service and my proxies are running with my service. And if I want to route the traffic, I can do with the traffic with the help of like proxy, Istio proxy. Or again, if I want to say like sometimes I could say like it's Istio proxy, but Istio proxy again running the NY proxy only. It's not develop anything something else. So if I want to talk about like Pilot pushes the service registry info and routing rules to the NY proxy. So what are the rules and NY proxies? The registry infos are there that I can do with like that proxy Pilot will do. What Mixer is do? Mixer has like open API and pluggable architecture, like sending the telemetry logs and traces of your what you have choice, like that can be done with the help of like Mixer. Again that is your choice what exactly you need to take out from the like telemetry and the logs and all those stuffs. If I want to talk about the Citadel more, it's like this is the way actually what exactly will happen. Like if I want to encrypt the traffic, like with the MTLS or without MTLS, or what I have like HTTP, HTTPS, or gRPC or TCP, whatever things are there, that will take care by the Citadel. And Citadel will make sure that like application identity is propagated as a like bearer token and all those stuffs. and all the encryption of the application of the traffic, that will take care by the Citadel itself. Citadel mixer, check the telemetry config. Okay, okay. So yeah, so once this is done, the pilot is already push all the routes to your proxies. So it is very easy for the proxy to get communicated in between service, or from if I have the extra traffic that can land to your application, that will be very easy because you have the proxies which are running along with your application. Okay, so we'll go next. This is what I'm just trying to say, like in 1.5 and above version, all the components will get seated into your single as a control plane, like with the help of like Istio-D, and rest of the things, like if I'm talking about like if I will say like control plane is like server side, and if I talk about like proxies and so sidecars, that will be, I could say, like clients and proxies. So little bit like about these things, like if I want to do like if I want to like talk about like pilot, so it will help like traffic management, then intelligence routing, which allows you to do like A/B type of testing or blue-green type of or canary rollout on all those things. If you have like circuit break and all those stuffs, which I have already explained, that will take care by your pilot. And pilot like it's like a management traffic pilot is pilot is much aware about like what platform is running on, and it will ensure that the traffic management part, and it will not it is again irrespective of your platform, what platform you are using. If I want to talk about like more about the Citadel things, so I already explained like the certificate management and traffic encryption and all those stuffs that will be taken care by the Citadel. If I want to talk about like Gelai, so Gelai is responsible to provide the configuration, validation, like ingestion, then what are the processing and distribution for your service mesh, that will take care by the Gelai. If I want to like talk about like traffic control, then the traffic control there, that will help to control your traffic and how it moves through your traffic, such as like providing the routing rules and HTTP, those that will take care by the like traffic control, or the that will take care by like traffic control things. So if I want to talk about some like network resiliency, so this will help you like providing the network resiliency, such as like retries or failure, circuit breaks, and fault injection. If I want to talk about like security and authentication, so that will again take care by like mutual TLS and traffic encryption. And if I have like if I'm using like MTLS, then it can again preventing the man-in-middle attack and all those stuffs. This is what like if I'm looking out like top of the diagram, I'm hitting any service from the outside the Kubernetes, and if I want to access any service inside the Kubernetes, and if I have deployed anything inside the cluster, so if I'm hitting like into the public internet, so Istio has like Istio gateway with us, and from Istio gateway to it will connect to again Istio gateway is running the server side proxies, and from server side proxies the traffic will get to your mesh proxy, that is NY proxy, and how this is flow. So if I am done with my traffic routing from service A to B, and if I want to again send the data outside the world, again behind the scene it is running the external egress gateway, and egress gateway will send the traffic outside the world. I think this diagram is pretty much clear, and you are able to see how traffic flows from from external world to the internal proxy, and from the internal proxies to the outside the world again. And those traffic will flow from your proxies to proxy. And let's consider my have like Istio deployed in my cluster, and my control planes goes down, or my Istio goes down. Then what about my services, or what about my NY proxies? So don't worry about that, because at the starting time itself, the pilot or Istio is pushing those rules into your NY proxies. So in case like your Istio or control planes goes down, still your application will is running fine, unless and until your NY proxies are live and they are connected to each other. The only thing is that if I am scaling the application, or if I am adding new stuff into the cluster, then that time only NY proxies don't have those rules. So the new pod will not get served with the new traffics. The only thing is that if Istio is live, Istio is live, then you don't need to worry about those things. So these are the like more granular way, I could say, like if I want to send the traffic from, these are the, if you ask me, like these are some of the things which runs with the Istio, like virtual service, then virtual gateways, then destination rules, and the Istio gateway, sorry, ingress gateway. So these are the things which running inside with the help of like Istio. So here I have write like if I'm hitting to service A, it will go in the destination rule. I have wrote like the my traffic will go to service A and sorry, service B with like version production. And one of the things like I have wrote like version 2 have the canary, so that I can write into the destination rule, and I can route the traffics. Oh yeah, so earlier we see like how traffic flows from like L3 level or with the help of kubectl. Those similar way I can see like from this diagram you are able to see, and this is like more granular way. If I'm hitting to any service from outside the cluster, or with the help of load balance, or with the help of like Istio gateway, so I'm hitting to the load balancer, the traffic will flow from load balancer to the Istio gateway. Like it again, as I told you, Istio proxy, these are the NY proxies which is running with Istio D. Like these are like server side proxies. And if I'm talking about the proxies which is if you look at the pod 1 Nginx, like Istio proxy, Nginx Istio proxy, those are like client side proxies which are running with your application. So if I'm hitting the application with load balancer, so it will first hit to your Istio gateway. From Istio proxy NY, it will get connected to your Istio proxy, and behind the Nginx, my Python pod is running, and it will get connected to your Python application. So if you look at the traffic flow from external to the actual pod, so those are like from NY to NY or proxy to proxy, and that will be totally encrypted traffic, and it is again the layer 7 traffic. And in between like that, you can do the lot of things like resiliency or traffic routing or encryption, security level, or traffic management. There are a lot of things that you can do. So if you look at the right hand side of the diagram, they're like you can much more clear about the things like how we can access the things inside the cluster. Like I have the routing rules and policy which already push to your proxies, and proxies have those information, and I'm hitting the traffic. So directly, if you look at like traffic in the in a red color, so that traffic will inject to your in Istio ingress gateway, and from there it will reach to your pod. So if I talk about like little bit about Istio gateway, Istio ingress gateway, so it has like virtual services, then gateway, then destination rules, and all those stuff. And there these rules are written, and according to that the traffic will behave, or traffic will get routed. So like if I talk about like Istio is like a big things or service. If I talk about like service mesh 2, it's a big thing, and I cannot explain each and everything like in 30 minutes or 45 minutes. But I'll just try to cover all the things, and wanted to get clear all the concept behind the scene, what Istio does in, and what service mesh and how service mesh is running. These are the another beauty of Istio. I could say I have like two different cluster in a two different region, and I want to do the load balancing. Then I can deploy the Istio in between two clusters, and I can do the traffic routing. For this, I could say like multiple cluster with the service mesh. These are the information and how you can configure this. You can get easily come to know with the help of like on Istio on the Istio website, how you can configure. There are a lot of things. Not only this, like you can do like remote Istio traffic routing too, where I am running the Istio in one cluster. Only I am running the Istio in one cluster and have multiple clusters which are running, and I can route the traffic to the multiple clusters. Those also we can do with the help of Istio. So it's not like only the service mesh or the L3 layer of traffic. It's much more than that. So at the last, like some of the things that I want to just explain, like how traffic management kind of stuff like we can do. Like if I talk about like application rollout, I can separate the, like I can distribute the traffic in a percentage. Like I can decouple the traffic from the infrastructure, and I can scale the traffic. That is like a proportion of the traffic routed to a version, independent of the number of instances that are supporting to the versions. So if I want to like talk about like traffic steering, so again, as I shown in earlier diagram too, if I want to control the traffic based on my content base. So if I have the two devices which are running like Apple and Android application which are running in a cluster, that I can do with the help of like Istio, that I can do like with the help of like content based application, that I can do, and I can write the rules, and according to that, that traffic will get routed to your particular content based application. So if I want to talk about much more about the resiliency, there are like a lot of things for the resiliency I can do. Like if I have like the traffic that I want to send, and suppose my circuit breakers are there, and instead of that I want to do something else, and my application goes down, and there are like circuit breaks, that can I handle with the help of like resiliency. If I have the multiple applications and timeout between them, that I can reduce, that I can check it out like using the tracings. Then health checks of the application that I can see. Currently I haven't shown the Kiali dashboard, but definitely you can just check it out. Like what are the things in the tracing I can do. If I'm hitting to any service, I can trace the call from external world to the pod. That I can clearly show on my Kiali dashboard that how traffic flows from inside my cluster. And those tracing will be done by with the help of like Kiali dashboard with your NY proxy. NY proxy will send that telemetry data your Kiali dashboard. Like other things like fault injection and all those things, like those comes under the resiliency. And the connection control connection pool size and the request load, those are the some of the things that we can control with the help of Istio. I cannot go in deep into that, like we need to have one more session. If I talk about the efficiency, definitely it's load 7 L7 or the layer 7 layer of the traffic management, that we can do easily load balancing. We can do like TLS offloading, onloading. Then we can do like gRPC or HTTP or HTTP 2x2 proxying. Definitely. And behind the scene, if you ask me like, can I replace the total existing L3 IP based routing inside the cluster, which is a Kubernetes native with the help of like service mesh or Istio? Definitely not, because behind the scene again it is using the same things. But if you ask me like, if I want to replace the ingress controller of the Kubernetes, yes, definitely you can replace the ingress controller of your Kubernetes with Istio. And definitely like NY support like passive and active health checks, and usually you will get the benefit of that. And again, it is NY using like TLS. NY uses the boring SSL that will help like your Android and the Chrome browser too. So these are the some of the things like we can do with the traffic routing. So I am much more ahead of the time, I know, but I have tried my best to explain all those things. Definitely, this is like I cannot say there are the full information or things that I want to cover. There are a lot of things that we can do. They're like 2 or 3 hours of session that only can cover only small part of the Istio. Yeah, definitely. Do you have any other questions for me? I know I am a bit fast while explaining, but I want to cover a lot many things over here. Okay. How can we deploy Istio on the Kubernetes cluster? Okay. How can we deploy Istio onto the Kubernetes cluster? There are like multiple way you can do with the Istio CTL. Or you can directly the beauty of like GCP, if you ask me about the GCP, you can directly enable the Istio directly from the front end, or if you want to deploy manually, you can deploy manually. You can do with the Helm charts, or you can directly go to the istio.io where you will get the number of resources like how you can deploy the Istio in your cluster. 1 second. How can I have the control planes outside the Kubernetes cluster? Yeah. How can I have the control plane outside the Kubernetes cluster? You can deploy the control plane outside the cluster. You can install the Kubernetes Istio D in one cluster, and you can easily connect the other clusters too. The only thing is that they should be having in a same network, or if they are not in the same network, you have to do the VPC peering kind of stuff where I can connect to other clusters too, and I can send the traffic to other clusters. This configuration, definitely you can check it out on the Istio page. You will get these things. And currently, if you talk about my current company, we are using the same scenario where I have the remote Istio which is running in one cluster, and I have multiple cluster which is running behind the scene, and I'm just routing those traffic inside my clusters. Outside the worlds means let's consider I am exposing any API with the help of Istio. Definitely it's a API based call if I want to go into deep. So if I have like test.com which is mapped to your Istio ingress, and if I want to access like test.com/prod, and if I want to consume the data, and definitely if I'm exposing any API, definitely I'm hitting to API, I will send the data to the API, and again I will get something from that API. So these are like outside the world means egress and ingress traffic to that API. What is Canary? Canary is like a deployment type where I'm just rolling out my application in a percentage, like let's consider I have like 10 pods are running, and if I want to deploy the new version of the application, so it will get roll out in a phase with the help of like Canary deployment. So in the first phase, if I have set like 30% of the in the first phase, if I mentioned like 30%, so only 30% of like only three new pods will get created, and after that all 3 pods will get deleted. In next phase, I have wrote if I wrote like 50% or 100%, then like if it is 100%, then new 7 pods will get created, and once the health API is up, then old 7 pods are where will get deleted. So these are like I could say like Canary type of deployment.